Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpru.com.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. This is Andrew Frazier, your host, and I'm excited to be here once again to really have an opportunity to chat with a business leader, thought leader, expert about things that can help you be more successful in your business. Tonight, just like each other night, we have a specific topic and we talk about things so that we can have something that you can take away and implement immediately within your business. And tonight is like others, but unlike others. I'm very excited to have our special guest this evening, Marlin Woods. He's the Executive Chairman of BenefitsPLUS. And we're going to be talking about the same title as his book, Courting the Employer, a Business-to-Business Romance. Look forward to really having a good chat with him because, as I always say, your most important job is, as a business owner, is marketing and sales. But most people may not even know how to do that, may not even know that's their most important job, but he has done it successfully for year after year, really doing it well in the B2B space. And he's not only done it for himself, he's helped other people be able to do that successfully. So definitely he's going to drop a lot of gems, and hopefully you can take those away and help you grow your business in any business environment. So let me invite Marlin Woods to jump on with us tonight. Hey, Marlin, how you doing?
Andrew, how are you this evening? Thanks for having me.
I'm great. Thanks for being here. I know you've had a long day. We actually even have you on. You were at a conference and you left the meeting to come join us tonight. So thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Not a problem at all. Thank you. So much so that I literally took off my sport coat, put it over on the side so that I can sit back, be comfortable, and have the conversation with you tonight. So thank you once again for the honor of this platform. And my hope is that I do you the justice of providing your listenership, viewership with insights that will drive them into progressive outcomes for their own businesses.
Okay, great. No, definitely. I'm sure you will, and definitely glad to have you on. And, like I was saying before, you always dress real sharp. So I was a little nervous about what I was going to wear tonight. So I appreciate your casualness. And, but yeah, we're just going to chill tonight and kind of have some fun talking and, keep it real. It's been a long day for everybody. So we're just going to, make it fun. So, really, you've done a lot of great things in your life. And you're actually making some transitions as well. But, you've really been able to, go from, where you are, learn how to communicate with all kinds of people on all levels in all places. And, that's an important piece of sales and just being successful in business. So, can you just talk a little bit about kind of where you started and how you got to where you are now?
Sure, I call that my path to niche. I'm asked this question all the time everywhere I go, where they have me, whether it's a conference or some other platform or some other venue. If it's a ministry in the way of preaching, same thing happens. I'm asked, how did you go from here to here? How'd you get from A to B? I call it my path to niche. So the long and short of it is that much like everyone else, you start out working for someone at someone else's firm, organization of some sort, of some experience or another. And then this itch begins to irritate you. This weight of burden begins to find itself heavier and heavier and heavier on your shoulders. The itch of entrepreneurship, the itch of self-employment, the itch of providing contribution in the way that you have innately creative solution. And that's very important. It is to be sensitive to the agitations of burden by which you have innate creative solution within you to provide as your contribution to the economy or to the ecosystem of service. And so, same thing happened with me. I was working for a broker, in fact, several of them, some names larger than others, and I received a commission check. And it was a very substantial commission check. And so with this substantial commission check, it was, they send you the hard paper, the actual paper check, but it was a mock paper check that was voided because it, direct deposit, the era of direct deposit. And so this was years ago. And so I looked at this check and I showed it to my wife and I said, look at this check. And she says, yeah, I know. Wow. And so I said, no. Look at this check. I said, if I made this, imagine what the firm made. And she says, And I said, yeah. And then I blurted it out of my mouth. I said, I could do this for me. I could do this for us. This exact same service by which I've taken my skill set, the resources that I have through training and experience, and provided in a way that I believe is more effective and that customizably services my sphere of influence or my book of business. And so, my wife initially didn't look so supportive because that was what she deemed at one point in time as security. But then, it took her 5 minutes because she's a progressive thinker and a leader in her own right publicly. And so she says to me, let's do it. Now, let's meant me, but she said, let's do it. So March 13th of 2013, I launched BenefitsPLUS Consulting. And BenefitsPLUS Consulting is a vendor manager. We vet health and welfare benefits vendors for corporations across the country. We are not a broker. We simply broker brokers and other vendors in the health and welfare benefits space. And so that launching, and this is why it's so important to launch, it's to just start. Because that launching led to one platform after the next platform, after the next platform, after the next platform that led to a book, by which I'm sure you'll want to talk about, that led to more platforms and then public speaking stages all across the country. And from one public speaking stage to the next public speaking stage, and then to national boards, and then being deemed as a national subject matter expert in the space, in the concentration. And so this is my maturation process for my path to niche, which now on the other side of courting the employer, a business-to-business romance, which was launched back in May 29th of 2015. On its first day sales, it was a Amazon bestseller. On its first day sales, it became an Amazon bestseller in the insurance space. And so I was very fortunate to have that. Now, I didn't write the book. Now, this is very important. I didn't write the book for book sales. I wrote the book out of responding to the same itch, the same weight of burden to share thoughts of solution that I believed were necessary for the public to hear. Now, the value in that was revealed in book sales. And so this is the testimony, if you will, to just start, just write the manuscript, just launch your business, because it leads literally from one platform to the next.
Great. No, I mean, definitely a great journey and a path. And, you're still on a path to even continued greatness. So we look forward to hearing a little bit more about that. But you mentioned a couple key things, Number one, it's kind of nice to get training on someone else's dollar, isn't it?
Right. That's right.
So, definitely it's good to be an entrepreneur and go out there, but it never hurts to develop your skills and,
right.
develop your capabilities before you just jump out there.
That's right.
And, that gave you an opportunity to do that. And then you could really see the opportunity better. Another key thing is, talking to your wife is important. And,
that's right.
It is a risk. Having a business is a risk. It doesn't always work out. But even if it doesn't, you learn some really valuable things.
Absolutely.
And they, what's his name? Willie Jolly always says, a setback is a setup for a comeback. So
that's right.
That's really what it's all about. And,
that's
one
right.
of the things I've heard is, usually most business owners are most successful on their third business. So
that's right.
You want to make it through your first two as quickly as possible.
That's right.
So you can hit your ultimate success. But, it's about value and value proposition. Right. You mentioned your book. People didn't buy it because they liked you.
That's right.
Even though they might have, but not that many people would have bought it.
Sure.
You have to have something valuable to share. And, you've been able to do that. But as a business owner, you have to have a value proposition. What is it that you have that's valuable to share? Because that's what's going to make you successful. And knowing that and sharing.
That's right.
So
that's right.
So no,
I want to touch on something that you mentioned briefly about failing twice before landing on your feet the third time. Now, BenefitsPLUS was not a success from the outset. There were 2 prior iterations of the model of BenefitsPLUS before the third iteration was successful. And so to your point, yes, I agree with that 100%. And it looks many ways. It has many features. It could be the business that you've launched, and it has one model, and that model fails, and you shift it to another model. That model fails, but you take these lessons, you gather or glean these lessons from the failures of these models until you arrive to a model that is valuable to the marketplace. So it may not have been 3 separate legal entities, but they were 3 separate models, which is very important for those who are sensing that it isn't working out. You might need to shift something. You might need to reevaluate, and the reevaluation won't come from you. The reevaluation will come from other people looking at your business, much like Andrew Frazier and other professionals who specialize in propping your business up to be successful, that can identify where your opportunities are by saying, that's an opportunity, that's an opportunity, and that's an opportunity. And that's why this model is failing. So maybe this isn't your model, maybe that is. Yeah, so that's just to further ride the back of that point that you made, which is a great point.
Right. No, I mean that's perfect. And even beyond that, my business changes every 2 to 3 years based on the market. So even when you can never rest on your laurels as a small business. You got to go where the market and the opportunity is, and where the need is. COVID changed a lot of businesses.
Wow.
And it's been really tough on a lot of businesses, but it's been really great for a lot of businesses too. And a lot of new businesses have started because business is all about solving problems.
That's right.
And there's so many new opportunities for solving problems and new problems to solve. But if the old problems aren't there anymore, then those aren't the problems people are going to pay you to solve. So you have to be proactive and creative and flexible and look at the trends. And
That's right.
there's so many opportunities out there.
That's right. That's right.
They're not going to come to you.
No, they're not.
So,
That's right.
So
That's
yeah,
right.
so no, that's cool. And you know, like your book, my book, Running Your Small Business Like a Pro, was the same thing. You know, I worked with so many people and just really saw, you know, key patterns of what small business owners were facing and how to overcome those challenges. And that's
Right.
really
That's
what
right.
I laid out. And the book actually led me to create the Small Business Pro University, which really, this show, Leadership Live at 8:05, is produced through the Small Business Pro University.
Wow.
And given that, you know, it's important to know what the Small Business Pro University is. So we're going to take a quick break, learn a little bit about the Small Business Pro University, and then we're going to come back and talk with Marlin a little bit more about sort of where he is now and what he's doing. Sounds good?
Sounds good. Let's hear it.
Do you own your business or does it own you? Is your business growing and are you making enough money? As a business owner, there are so many things you need to know to become more successful. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Small Business Pro University for you. Small Business Pro University has self-paced, dynamic, multimedia learning experiences created by more than 20 instructors who are business owners just like you. Small Business Pro University will empower you to become a masterpreneur by learning the secrets to creating a successful enterprise, to go from working in your business to working on your business. Take advantage of our strategic coaching program or just simply choose the courses that you need. At www.sbprou.com, we will empower you to thrive and not just survive and make more money in any business environment. Great. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, talking small business. I'm here with Marlin Woods, and we're talking about courting the employer, a business-to-business romance, and talking about B2B sales and how does that work. But before we do that, tell us a little, Marlin, what are you doing specifically now? And, you know, what is your mission and your focus on, you know, for the future?
So that's a very good question. There are lots of things happening all at the same time. To your point before the break, you talked about how, which supports the original point that I was making, that one point or at one opportunity that you had led to the next opportunity. And from that platform, you reached another plateau from your book. And then from your book, Run Your Small Business Like a Pro, which I have a copy of and have read. And I'm thankful for that. And for those of you who do not have your copy, go to the website or the link that you'll see that Andrew will provide to get your copy as well. But from one platform to the next, your book to now the university, and from the university to Leadership Live at 8:05. You understand these progressions have happened through the opportunity of adding value, providing value to people who, you know, quite frankly, find themselves in more progressive outcomes in running their business, that they take advantage of your resources and tools. And so, and that leads you literally, it carries you from one platform to the next. And so, if you help enough people get what they want, more than enough people will see to it that you have what you want. And so, in the way of answering the question of what I'm into now, BenefitsPLUS literally runs itself at this point, which allows me to be able to concentrate on even greater responsibility from the civic space. And so, without saying too much, because I can't at this moment, but I can say finding myself in the civic space, serving the public through other local boards, from now national presence. Now you have value back at home or locally, where you have the greatest impact, which is right outside your door in your community, doing some things here that I am pivoting into on the strength or the foundation or platform of being a business owner. So being a business owner also leads to other things in your life, things that you recognize are responsibilities. And so I'm seeing in my life that there are some other responsibilities that I have to tend to, that I must, again, scratch the itch of burden that's weighing heavy up on my shoulders because of these innate solutions or these innate qualities that I have to address or answer dysfunction. And that's what these things are. We solve problems because of dysfunction. We solve problems because things aren't functioning according to design or efficiently, or there is a chasm, a gap, or a hole that needs to be bridged. So we come up with solutions. We create solutions. Now, we don't have burden into everything, but there are only certain things that agitate us to create solutions for. And it's those things that we will be most effective in, that we will be most valuable in, and that people will actually purchase from you. They will purchase from you the authentic burden of your heart, the authentic creative products, services, platforms, technologies that will come from within you because they are founded in addressing dysfunction somewhere. And so that's what's happening with me. There are other dysfunctions out here that have gotten my attention and that are agitating me. And from these things, they're agitating me to act, to movement. They're agitating me to launch, to address, to answer, to create. And so I've been getting involved in the local space, the local civic space, with being able to provide my contributions or skill sets from ideation to, once again, solve problems of dysfunction. So hopefully that answers your question and speaks a little bit into the responsibility to even pivot in spaces that are even greater than your own business.
Okay, no, that's a great point. I mean, it's about relationships and, helping people achieve their goals. And, one of the things that's impressive is, even though you've reached a certain level of success, you haven't forgotten about other people. And,
that's right.
You're not
spot on
going up into the attic and pulling up the ladder. So,
that's right.
And I had the opportunity to come to Pittsburgh to check out. You do 2 a year events, major events for African American business owners and professionals focused on mentoring. And
that's right.
That's very much needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's one thing to do an event, but you really do an event. So you have it at the Rivers Club, which is one of the top places in Pittsburgh. A lot of sort of like I used to have the Power Breakfast at the Newark Club. A lot of people,
which I've been,
right, may have never been to the Rivers Club, even though they lived in Pittsburgh.
That's right. That's right. And that's why we have it there.
Right. So, but also, you bring in, great speakers, great connectors, and, you have 100+ young people. They're learning and interacting and networking. And that's huge, especially for Pittsburgh. So, how did you end up doing that? And, what have the results been so far?
So great question. I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad you brought that up. Once again, responding to burden, responding to the agitation of dysfunction, seeing where there were gaps or holes, seeing where there were what we call opportunities, where there has been limitation. And so I'm addressing limitation and the limitations of access. You know, there is, especially with African Americans, there was a limitation of access. The word racism literally means the denial of access to quality. And so this denial of access has been a dysfunction that I have had burden into addressing or eradicating. This burden of access was about not really experiencing quality, but moving people who had a form of quality into an authentic quality that leads to this Wakanda-like environment that everybody is required to put a suit on or business formal attire to come out to hear subject matter experts who are also African American, people who have experiences and people who have achieved some things, accomplished some things against odds, and now they're seeing the responsibility not to pull up the ladder when they climb up into the attic, but to leave it down for someone else to be able to climb up and ascend to higher heights as well. Being able to create a platform where the community of Pittsburgh no longer operates in silos, because we got people doing great work over here, people doing great work over there, people doing great work over there, people doing great work back there, but they were not collaborating and communicating, almost competing. So when you collect them under one roof that says your contributions actually support the other organization, the other work, the other startup, the other platforms that are out here, there is strength in numbers. And so now with that, you're all dressed in business attire. It's at a private executive club membership. It's at a membership club that most people don't get to see the inside of because they don't have exposure to that thing, a space like that, which really drove this lack of exposure, and he really drove this burden of mine to address this by saying, no, it's one thing to mentor, but it's another thing to create an environment of mentorship, sponsorship on the foundation of inspiration. And inspiration leads to the very venue that you host a program in. So we call it Empower Me, the Empower Me Summit. You've been there, you've spoken there. Your brother Evan has spoken there, and many other African Americans. Now here's the key: from Pittsburgh, because it's easy for me to pay somebody to come in who's done great things in lives, but for people to see people who've done things locally, or at least who are from the local area, who've done tremendous things in either corporate or the nonprofit space or entrepreneurship or the business space, to come back and to share not just what they've done from testimony standpoint, but to share the methodologies, the navigation, what's behind door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3, sharing those insights with us, basically providing us with cheat codes to be able to then access these spaces of quality to be able to share with your own generations. So now we've created a community, and now when you create community, this is how you arrive to generational wealth, because generational wealth is founded in community, not in individual feat or individual achievement. So Empower Me is exactly that. Empower me so that I can go and thrive. Empower me so that I can be progressive. Empower me so that I can achieve. Empower me so that I can reach plateaus where I can then turn around and to provide the navigation of the way that I've come and the pitfalls that lie ahead for you. And so the Empower Me Summit is this first class, top shelf exposure of mentorship by providing subject matter experts and people who do tremendous things in the way of commerce that inspires their contemporaries, African American contemporaries, who are in the room eating crab cakes and lobster sliders. Because it has to be a first class affair. This is how you achieve uh, inspiration, and inspiration becomes aspiration. And so that's why Empower Me. That's what happens at Empower Me. And as a result, people are empowered. There are vendors there, Black-owned businesses that vend there, that have to come and set up quality spaces in the vendor hall so that we can do Black business well. And so Empower Me supports them. And it's also sponsored by some of the corporations in town that see or recognize the need for this, who recognize my own personal name and brand, that trust it as a result of the contributions I've made into my market. So that's pretty much Empower Me. Please forgive, the long-winded version, but this is something that needs to be addressed, especially with African Americans, is that we have a responsibility to also provide access to first-class environments.
You're 100% right. Just like that, the Power Breakfast, but it brings a different level when you're seeing other people just like you, and in terms of inspiration and just impressive, because I didn't even know that there were that many young entrepreneurs, African American, doing things in Pittsburgh. They need to know each other.
That's right.
And you're creating a platform for doing that. And one thing that impressed me was I would have had no idea that there was a Black-owned golf course in Pittsburgh. But there is.
That's right.
And the owners were there at your event. So you had all kinds of great people there, and that's key. So yeah, I mean we're covering a lot of great stuff. What we're going to do is we still haven't hit on the topic of today, but we're gonna come back to that, and it'll be well worth it because I always say that to be successful as a small business, a lot of times you have to do the opposite of what big businesses do. And your strategy and the way you lay out the B2B sales process is the opposite. And that's why it works. And people need to know that and understand about it. So appreciate everybody joining in. Thanks for your questions and your comments. Keep them coming. Pittsburgh's in the house, New Jersey's in the house, New York's in the house. We've got a few other places in the house as well. And, we're going to take a quick break, learn a little bit about what we call the Masterpreneur Playbook. And it's really something I put together for business owners to help them understand the critical path that they need to take to go from startup to scaling their business successfully. So here's a little bit about it.
The best sports teams have a proven playbook. Everyone should have one. We've got one for you, because there are so many things you need to know as a business owner. Many business owners work longer and harder for less money than if they had a job, because they are on the wrong path.
Break that cycle with the Masterpreneur Playbook, a 5-step business growth plan that addresses the challenges that business owners face going from working in their business to working on their business. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, a business growth pro and CFO. The Masterpreneur Playbook incorporates proven strategies for successfully growing your business that I discovered during my personal journey.
Is there any reason you wouldn't want to accelerate the growth of your business, make more money, and have more free time? Of course you would. Don't hesitate. Visit www.spprou.com to download a complimentary copy of the Masterpreneur Playbook today.
Okay, great. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05 here with Marlin Woods. And we're going to get into the main topic today, which is we're going to talk about B2B sales and the right way to do it. Because so many people don't do it right, or don't know how to do it right, or try to teach people how to do it wrong. And all that does is maybe it gives you some short-term gains, but it doesn't give you the sustainability and the opportunity to grow your business to what it really could be in the future. So, a B2B relationship, that sounds like, a soap opera. Talk to us about, what is a B2B relationship, and, how does it work when you're courting the employer?
So courting the employer is this parallel between romantic relationship between a man and a woman and business to business sales responsibility. And it's written from the man's responsibility by what the female persuasion, in other words, the employer, that employer's perspective. And so this is this incredible illustration, if I may say so, this incredible illustration of the responsibilities. And so, no, this is not misogynistic or chauvinistic. It's simply a picture of responsibility by the business to business sales representative and what is expected of them, what brings or creates value in their practice and in their approach that is received and even welcomed, that doors are opened for you by those employers whom you are providing your products, services, and platforms to. And so relationships are, quite frankly, the foundation. And they are the reward to business sales. Money isn't the reward to business sales. It's relationships, because those relationships lead to more relationships. And again, if you help enough people get what they want, then more than enough people will help you to get what you want. And so, quite frankly, recognizing that you have a responsibility to court the employer. That's why I entitled it The Employer rather than simply the employer. You have a responsibility as a business to business sales professional to court the employer. And what does that mean? If you ask a woman, what does she want out of a relationship? She's going to say, I want sharing, caring, commitment. I want to hold hands. And if you ask the employer, more specifically, the vice president of total rewards, the vice president of benefits, and whomever of the CFO of the organization, what they want out of their vendors that serve their organizations, they say in an uncanny fashion the exact same thing that a woman says about her available suitor. I want caring, sharing, commitment. I want you to hold my hand. I want frequent touches. I need you to call me frequently. I need you to walk me through this process, provide me with security, a sense of safety, and that you're going to actually get out here and win for me, to provide for me as an extension of my organization. So the platform or the foundation of this approach is in a courtship mentality or methodology. These are the successful modalities that create open doors rather than having them shut in your face by the gatekeepers who are not empowered to say yes. They are empowered to say no, however. And these are vice presidents, again, of total rewards. These are human resource benefits administrators. These are persons of human resources. These are CFOs and other professionals who are responsible for vetting vendors to do business with this or a particular organization. Your responsibility is to court that organization with the same energies, the same modalities, the same methodologies that you, being a single man, would court. And if you're a woman, how you would expect a single man to court you in your availability. And so that's pretty much the foundation of how the book was written. It's written in a linear fashion where the chapter really start. The chapters actually go in a progression that from the first date, or having it together as the first chapter, and then the first date, the first kiss, the courtship process, the proposal, and then the marriage commitment. And then after that, growing the family. What does that look like? And so these are the responsibilities of the business to business sales professional, and the progressions of what this relationship looks like for every organization that you serve. It's a courtship. And if you understand that it's a courtship, then you will behave differently in that process.
Okay. So no, I mean, I think that, it's ingenious the way that you tied it together. And, one of the key, a few key things about it is trust, and you got to build the relationship first
That's right.
before you try and sell. So talk a little bit about, what does that mean? How do you build a relationship? Because not everybody understands what that means or how you do that.
So in this era, we have sales programs and platforms that we believe add value to our approach to be able to close the sale. So we have now what's called one call closes. And it's the closing that we're after. And we're missing the process of relationship. For someone who is in total rewards, or someone who is responsible for vetting vendors or procurement professionals in an organization, they see that a mile away. They see you coming a mile away. They can smell you. And this inability to connect with this other professional who has a responsibility to vet you to see if you have value, when they simply can look at the organization that's the largest and say, we will contract with them for this RFP. How do you differentiate yourself in an RFP process? Because the RFPs typically are awarded to the organizations that are the biggest. Why? Because that's job security for these people. You don't get fired for hiring Aon Hewitt. And so, even if Aon turns into a debacle, it's still Aon Hewitt that you've hired, or Towers Watson or Willis if you're in the insurance or benefits, employee benefits space or financial services space, and you're providing business to business sales products to these organizations. And the procurement team has to vet you. How do you differentiate yourself? You differentiate yourself through the courtship process, through providing what's in it for them and not how great and wonderful you are. Because let me tell you something about an RFP. And Andy, you know this. An RFP is a human resources personality exam. You've had those personality exams where you sit down to a kiosk and it asks you questions like, from a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being most likely, 5 being least likely, are you trustworthy? That's an RFP. So the RFP is designed where it's asking certain questions that leads you to answer them a certain way. So now you have 15 responses to the RFP from 15 different organizations, and the answers are all exactly the same. How are you differentiated besides just being the biggest? It's this courtship process. It's the sharing, it's the caring, it's the commitment. And they've got to believe that you also believe in your own product. Because if you're merely trying to convince them to buy what you have to sell, then they're going to close the door in your face every time. So these, excuse the expression, one-hitter quitters, and these one-call closes, and these fastest methodologies to close with all of these different sales programs that are out here to teach you to get to the close are actually hurting your business from truly having value. Because the way in which these things work, Andy, is that these organizations, especially corporations, they talk to one another. The benefits administrator at Comcast will call the benefits administrator at Time Warner. Time Warner will talk to the benefits administrator at the network ABC. And ABC will talk to Westinghouse. And Westinghouse will talk to Alcoa. And Alcoa will talk to US Steel, and so on and so forth. I've been in these meetings in a room full of human resources benefits administrators, and they say, no, we don't speak to each other. Who are you using? This is how you differentiate yourself, especially if you're not the biggest. There has to be a sensitivity to the very specific, customizable needs of or unique needs by which you ought to have the ability to provide customizable solution to. And so hopefully that answers your question on what that process looks like and what makes you more effective than the next organization down the street.
No, I think that's perfect. Really, when you're looking at it, you mentioned something key. When I work with people and teach them about getting financing, one of the things that you have to do is change your perspective. And you have to sit in the other person's seat. and you have to realize that they don't want to get fired for making a bad decision,
That's right.
and what a good decision looks like, and why they
That's right.
would take a risk on you.
That's right.
You know, I do the same thing. You know, a lot of businesses are like, you know, it's so hard to get financing. Why won't they finance me? I'm like, well, you know, I give them examples and say, okay, we got these 3 businesses. Which one would you lend to, and why? and
Yeah.
and then you know, and then if you have to realize that if you make the wrong decision and the loan doesn't get paid back, you get fired. So,
That's right.
And it's real.
It is real.
You have to have that sensitivity to be able to go in there. And then, you know, you talked about it as a small business, you know, you can't be the low cost provider.
No.
You cannot, you know, you have more risk, you know, but what you can do is you can be more creative, you can be more flexible, you can build a better relationship
Absolutely.
than other companies. So you have to work with your strengths. So what are some of the things that you do with your business to demonstrate your value proposition and why they should choose you as opposed to someone else?
Well, you first have to listen to what they actually want, and you can't know everything. A lot of us are subject matter experts in our space, and we like to impress procurement teams with how much we know about a subject, or how much we know about the market, or how much we know about the products or solutions. This does not work. You merely come off as a know-it-all who doesn't listen. So you've got to listen to what they're saying their organization needs, and not attempt to steer them in the products that pay out the most commission. Again, they sniffed that out from the outset. Your responsibility is to hear out the very unique needs of an organization, because they understand what it will take for them to thrive, and for ultimately their margins to, you know, to increase. And if you're listening to what the procurement person is professional is saying, they're telling you culture of the organization, all of the things that separate their organization from the next organization who competes in that same space, or of that same size, or may have that same employee demographic. You've got to listen. They're trying to tell you what's different about them. And you've got to be able to be knowledgeable enough in your knowing everything to speak to that particular unique space that they're in, the unique circumstances that they're in, with your flexibility, to your point, Andy, flexibility to service those unique needs for that organization. This is how you prove your value. Well, what do you need? Tell me, what do you actually need? If you can tell me what you actually need, then we can figure out how we can work together to service that need, and that it won't cost you as much as the most expensive. But at the same time, if you want this done right, then it's not going to be as cheap as the lowest cost provider. And so you're truly going to get what you pay for. But you're also going to gain a partner. You're also going to gain a division that supports your business. And that's pretty much how you separate or differentiate yourself in these opportunities that are provided.
No, that's great. So it's more like a shared success. You know, you become
100%.
part of their
Win-win.
team. So, and win-win. And you know, as a small business, that's what you have to do in business. That's what you're supposed to do. So no, I think definitely what you're talking about is makes sense. So listen and service are the keys.
That's it. Those two.
Okay. And, you know, you've been able to do a lot of things. You do speaking, you can sit in those meetings, you can be effective. And, you know, it's also about developing your skills to be
100%.
able to successfully communicate and demonstrate what you can bring to the table for people. And I know that you have really, you know, you speak in front of crowds of hundreds and thousands of people.
Yeah.
and have developed your skills in that area, and actually you train other people to help them be more successful speakers and communicators. And one place I heard that you know the most valuable investment you can make in your success as a business owner or an employee is in your communication skills.
100%.
And that's so important. So we can't have you teach everybody how to communicate better, but
Sure.
are there a few things that people could take away with to keep in mind that could help them potentially be more effective at communicating with people?
Absolutely. So, as you're right, I do train in public speaking. This is actually a baby of mine. With all the things that I do, this is my baby. As a public speaking coach, I do private one-on-one public speaking sessions for those who would like to sharpen their skills, be more comfortable, be more confident, be more polished. These things are necessary. Why? Because communication, absolutely, hear this, communication absolutely makes the other party feel safe with you. And if they feel safe with you through effective communication, then they're going to tell you things that they don't tell others who are not as so effective in their communication. And once that happens, that showing or illustration of trust happens. Now you've just won not just a client, but a friend. And so, with that, we understand that business happens through relationships. And if you understand that business happens by relationship, then you want to be fostering friendships. And friendships happen through the security of effective public speaking or effective communication. One, being able to listen. And then two, being able to speak directly to where that person is. Not just, professionally, but also personally. And so these methodologies to effective communication are in recognizing that relationships are the reward, not money, that you have a responsibility to, or there was a role that you played in leadership, that when you sit across from the prospect, that you are in the leadership seat, the seat of leadership, not them, you. And that you are navigating the conversation. They might think they're navigating the conversation through questions and answer, but you're literally navigating the conversation through providing commentary that speaks directly to where an organization is by telling them something that they don't already know, which is key. And being confident enough in your own product that they believe that you believe it. Because what they're buying is your belief in your own product, not how great your product is. They're not buying your features and benefits. They're buying your belief in it. And so that, pretty much answers the question. I'm actually on my cell phone and my battery life is yelling at me.
Okay. So no. I mean, I think that's the perfect answer. Definitely we, look at. I always have people read Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's right.
Because you have to understand how to build relationships, and communication is key. So, first off, great to have you on the show. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. Definitely great knowledge and great wisdom. What I want to do is, before we close you out, is there anything you'd like to leave people with?
Absolutely.
So
listen, as a small business owner, recognize that names like John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, Charles M. Schwab, J.P. Morgan, they all started as small businesses. Every organization started as a small business. And if you recognize that, then it takes or removes the limitation off of your mentality that says I cannot aspire or achieve that. It is a collaboration of skill sets and people with experience, relationships that you must foster to grow your organization, relationship by relationship, skill set by skill set, contributor by contributor, and it will evolve. Whereas once upon a time you had a small business, but due to the safety within the multitude of counselors, now you have a thriving enterprise. Every thriving enterprise started as a small business, every single one. And so you've got to remove the mentality of limitation and stop calling yourself small. Your business is actually big. And when you start seeing it that way, then naturally you begin to foster relationships who delight in sponsorship to see you evolve or move from one plateau to the next. And so with that, thanks for joining Andy. Continue to watch. I'll be continuing to watch Small Business Pro University. Leadership Live at 8:05. Because these are insights and things that Andrew's providing through his own experience and training.
Okay, great. Thank you, Marlin. Thanks again for joining us this evening. Once again, Marlin Woods, BenefitsPLUS. I put his LinkedIn link to his profile in the chat. So if you want to connect with him and talk with him, definitely feel free to. And, glad to have you here this evening. Thanks again. Great job, Marlin. And we're going to stop calling ourselves small. We're businesses that are growing. And before we go, just want to let you know a little bit about the Masterpreneur Club. If you're looking to grow, if you're looking to move forward with your business, the Masterpreneur Club is a great organization to be a member of. We work with you through the Business Pro University to help you be more successful and grow. And after that, we're going to share a little bit about next week's show and introduce you to the topic and to the guest before we close out. But here's a little bit about the Masterpreneur Club.
Is your business growing, and are you making enough money? If not, you need to join the Masterpreneur Club. The Masterpreneur Club is a community of business owners like you who are focused on growth and making more money. They follow the Masterpreneur Playbook developed by Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO, a proven 5-step business growth plan for creating a sustainable enterprise that can run without you. What exactly is the Masterpreneur Club and why should I join? The Masterpreneur Club is a membership component of the Small Business Pro University that features the opportunity to experience valuable multimedia mini courses and training opportunities, participate in virtual roundtable, group coaching, and knowledge-sharing discussions, access to a powerful network of experienced entrepreneurs, business owners, and thought leaders. We are committed to your success and want to make it affordable to any business owner seeking to accelerate their growth. Don't hesitate. Visit www.masterpreneurclub.com to join the Masterpreneur Club right now.
Okay, welcome back. Leadership Live. We just had our guest, Marlin Woods. Also, if you want to connect with him through his website, here's his website, www.marlinwoods.com. Check out his book. If you're looking for help with speaking, or if you just want to connect with him, definitely he welcomes the opportunity to connect with other business owners. Definitely feel free to do that. Once again, thanks for joining us this evening. Tonight we were focused on B2B sales. Next week we're going to have a topic that's a little different, but very important for business owners. Next week we're going to have Sherry Avinger, and she's really going to talk about the 7 keys to doing logistics right. It's very important in this day and age, especially with COVID. We've seen a lot of challenges to logistics for a lot of businesses. And, especially if you want to do international business, there's a lot of things that you need to understand and take into account. So, she has a lot of expertise in that area, and we're going to have a chat about, logistics, supply chain. Of course, it's not always the sexiest topic, but it's a very important topic if you're going to be successful in business. So look forward to talking to her and learning more about the 7 keys to success in logistics. So same bat time, same bat channel, next week, 8 p.m. Tuesday night, Small Business Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. And always remember, the more you know, the faster you grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpru.com.